Hey, how's it going, everybody? We're back again to talk about One Piece Chapter 1186. I know this is where we took a kind of a weird break from long form video reviews. I had a lot of stuff going on, and then once I got the free time back, I just didn't get into the swing of things again. Now it was only a week or two. I had a lot of things going on, so we still did short form videos for a while. So happy, yeah, but we're back doing long form. I don't know what style the long form's gonna take, generally speaking, but we'll work that out as it goes. I think I was gonna turn it into a big podcast. I was gonna make it a big thing, but my computer's shy, so I can't edit an hour-long video. So it looks like we're just gonna do like the short clip style videos, because my computer's old. So until I get a new computer, that's what we're gonna be doing. Anyway, straight into the chapter. So I'm excited to talk about the Brook flashback because I haven't really talked about it that much, right? Obviously, I'm a big fan of Brook. I kind of always have been post time skip. Once he started doing a lot of stuff post time skip and the rock star vibe, I was always a real big fan of him. Uh, he's a character I really want to cosplay at some stage. Personally, I mean, don't think I could do what your man does. I know some random guy on the internet that I've seen once or twice did like a lifestyle 10 foot tall Brook, and I was like always really cool, but I don't think I'd end up pulling that off. But I will say, right, the main plots of this chapter were essentially the cover page is fantastic, right? It pays like it's Loki drawing Ida and Ida just watching him in the background. That's the cutest thing ever. Like, and to be honest with you, right, all the cool characters we've met in this Elbath like arc, I still feel like it still annoys me so much that Ida had to die, man. Why did she have to die? Out of all the characters, like personally, like I'll say this, right? Ida's the character in One Piece that probably reminds me the most of my own mother. Like just that like unimaginable kindness and caringness that like it's just unmatched by a lot of people, And it's the vibes and stuff. Even the vibes were just very similar, so it hit me very hard. I was like, "Oh, why, Oda? This is like the one character you wrote that's like so similar to my own mother. Like it hurt. You know what I mean? It hurt so much." And it's nice to see, even the cute little smile on her face. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. I love it, man. Ida's the go. Justice for Ida, man. She should have survived. I was like hoping beyond hope that she was Shaggy for a long time. But I don't think that's definitely not the case, right? So it's unfortunate. But we see even in this Brook flashback with Oda killing off Gunko's mother, it's kind of like, damn, what are you doing, Oda? Like, you just don't like mothers, man. I know he made that quote years ago, like, oh, mothers are the antithesis to adventure or something like that. But still, I was like, that's crazy. This was a very emotional moment for Brook, though, having to confront Sherry and being like, I raised you from birth. And like everything she was saying about, do you understand my pain not knowing I was a greater being for 16 years and being raised on by a man who wasn't my father. And that brings an interesting vibe to the whole story, right? Because obviously it could have either been like a tragic moment for the person Brooke admired, or they could be hiding the truth. You know what I mean? That's an interesting thing Brooke will eventually find out, and it will probably lead to a further expansion on his character, which is quite interesting. We didn't get that answer to what type of person Brooke, is it Cardelia? I don't know how you pronounce her name. Then Gunko's mother, right? We didn't get the answer to what type of character she was. We can infer, but also it could have just been like a tragedy because we see your man there, who is a Myanmar family member who's obviously probably a prick, right? So it could easily be a tragedy, and the person Brooke or Gunko's mother could still be a good guy. But if she's not, and she is like a celestial dragon of some kind, be a very interesting moment for Brook when he figures that out, right? I'm very excited to see where this goes because we're getting a lot of character moments from Brook, and I really want to see how it relates to that Pedro moment. If you remember when Pedro died in Whole Cake Island and Brook kind of broke down and was like, not again. If you think about it, he's feeling like he's losing his third family. You know what I mean? Like, so seeing a tragedy, it would actually, the tragedy of Usopp dying that people always talk about, like, oh, this is Oda's theory for Elbath, like Usopp's gonna die and all this, right? Imagine the pain for Brook, man. He's losing another family member. That'd be crazy. And if he dies protecting Gunko, or Sherry as she's probably gonna be called now, it'd be very, very interesting. I'm like, there's so much depth to Brook now that it's just fascinating to me. And I do I do really like that when we come out of the flashback and we all this sort of stuff, we get Brook saying, like, telling it to the Straw Hats. And I also really like that Luffy didn't hear jack shit of that, because I love that part of Luffy's character. He doesn't give a crap about your past. He just sticks up for you no matter what. And we see him fighting Emu here in this chapter, and he punches him, man. I can't wait till the anime gets this. Even in the scene where Shuri, like, literally fucking stabs Brook in the head. By the way, crazy durability feat for Brook, by the way. But regardless, like, Oda had music in the background, and I'm saying when that gets animated, it's gonna be incredible, man. If they pull that off. As of this chapter review, I haven't watched the final episode of the Arc of Elbath. I do lives for the reactions to them on TikTok, because I'm just sitting there chilling for an hour watching the episodes, chatting shit with people in the chat. So come check it out if you want. I don't really plug either accounts that much, but I thought it'd be cool, because I'm kind of working between the two now, because I'm working off mainly my phone, because as I said, my computer's getting old. So it's not the same beast it used to be 6 years ago. It's a bit of a shit show now. I need to get a new one, but RAM prices, baby. You know. Also, to be honest with you, the World Cup's been taking over my life right now. You know what I mean? That's why I'm wearing this Japan jersey, baby. Look at this beauty, isn't it? I got this from my brother about 2 years ago, or 4 years ago actually. It was during the last World Cup for Christmas after the World Cup. It's nice, isn't it? It's a cool jersey. I thought, oh man, it's like inspired. I remember hearing like a thing where it was like, oh, it's inspired by Blue Box. I was like, oh, I'll pick that up. It's cool. That's why I picked it up. I hadn't even read or watched Blue Box or Blue Lock at the time, right? But now I have, and it also is pretty cool. But I do love this jersey though. I have a retro Brazil jersey that my dad used to have. I have a retro Italian jersey over there as well, but I'm not wearing it today because I wore it yesterday on a hike and it stinks to high heaven. But I do want to make it for a video before I put it in the wash. But anyway, back to the chapter though. My whole point was just saying why there hasn't been as many long form videos recently. Basically, the World Cup has made me lazy, but what can you say? I do like how Luffy is attacking Emu in his base form, right? Building up to Gear 5. Because although we've seen a lot of Gear 5 lately, it's still kind of this big, huge mystery, you know? People still talk about it like it's this mythical form. And we're seeing hints to the limitations and stuff. So I think it's interesting to see Luffy actually go head to head with these characters in base form. Now, I do think there's going to be a thing where Luffy does more damage than normal because of the Nika powers that he has inherited, which would be quite interesting. But as you know, personally, I'm a big fan of the no gears theory, right? The idea that by the end of the series, Luffy will not use gears anymore, right? He will be strong enough to stand on his own, just like Shanks and Roger, where he doesn't use gears anymore, or gears are more wasteful. Because we see the amount of lifespan it takes off Luffy to use Gear 2. Well, that was the idea, and we see him getting like tired in Gear 5, right? And we see that's obviously going to be a problem, and the need for food stuff. And I feel like it'd be a great way to give him that final power up, you know what I mean? Because I think at the end of the story it would make sense, because now Oda doesn't need to limit him to allow other characters to shine, because the story's going to be ending, and that'd be like his big power up. Or you know, he could just take the limits off the gears, but I think that'd be less interesting. The idea of like eventually not needing devil fruits and just focusing on the will, because obviously Oda shifted to a focus on hockey throughout the time skip era, and it's only in the last couple of arcs where he's brought the focus back onto devil fruits, kind of mainly mythical zones and like the god fruits. And I know the what you call it, the Harold and Zebek flashback kind of brought back devil fruits in a big way, because Zebek's big thing was 2 devil fruits. Obviously, being Blackbeard's dad brought that topic back up. It was a very interesting period of time talking about all that different stuff. But I do think we're getting to an interesting part in Elbath where it could go on for ages, or it could finish up soon. Because I did seriously think, and I've said this on shorts, that like I thought we were going to cut back to Emu being dominant and like to showcase his power. Like, I don't know what Oda's going to do, because he's not going to undermine Emu's power, because even if Emu's not the final boss and it is Blackbeard, like I think it is, he's not going to be defeated here, right? So there's going to be some reason he has to go back, or Shanks will show up and that be his reason to go back, and we can glaze Shanks for a couple of chapters and have all our big stuff here. I still think we're gonna get a major post Elbath section where we have like an interaction with Shanks. We have a whole like maybe even a Lord Zone. We might have a mini Davy Black fight. There might be a mini villain for post Elbath, which might be Kid and stuff like this. I have a few theories. If you remember back in the day, I made a theory about Kid being the villain for Elbath. I still kind of stand by that. I could see that happening after the post Elbath arc, like kind of posting in this lobby, but it's slight bit longer, like 5 to 10 chapters, which basically gives a bit more depth, closes out Elbath as a whole, gives us our Shanks and Luffy moment, brings Kid back up, allows Luffy to directly compare himself with Shanks as a protector for Elbath, with Kid there making his attack. And obviously more local, so it will do more damage. I just think it'd be a very interesting idea, right? A direct parallel between the two to start off the final saga and then lead into an invasion on Mary Showa or just finding the One Piece in general. I don't know what's going to come first, to be honest. But I think having him punch Emu brings up a different perspective for me. Like, I thought Emu was going to be untouchable for most of the arc. But I kind of see maybe he's going to bring in the sickness more. Because we saw Emu like coughing up blood at the start. And bringing that as an limitation for Emu. Because Emu's been kicking Loki's ass this whole arc. And I thought that was a way to not undermine Loki by having it show up and him winning. But we're kind of not going to have that. So I think either something's going to drag him back to Mary Showa, like without his consent. Or like we're gonna have Shanks show up and he's not taking the smoke for whatever reason. He needs him for something. They're gonna be like, oh, we need him. Or Shiri going onto the side of the good guys is gonna cause Emu to have to regroup, because there was something about the bipolar eyes recently, which I think is very interesting. I'd say it's gonna be like linked to Joy Boy, like the original race of Joy Boy. Like I thought for the longest time, my big thing was Shanks, like. We're all thinking like Joy Boy is going to look like Luffy, but I think Joy Boy is going to be like a Figureland. Like Figureland family were originally the Joy Boy family. Because we know how much glaze Oda gives Shanks, and also the fact that his hockey was directly compared to Joy Boy's and such and such. But yeah, I'm very excited to see where this goes. Let me know what you guys thought about the latest chapter, if you had any more ideas. I might reread Elbath recently just to get a better view of it before the next chapter. It felt like forever since the last chapter came out. It was great to get a new one finally. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you think we're going to get a post Elbath arc? I feel like Elbath could either go on for another 50 chapters or go on for another 20. You know what I mean? It could go on for ages. I feel like there's so much you could add to it. I think a post Elbath arc is nearly necessary, because like, what else are you going to do? You know? With Emu showing up here, it's kind of throwing on my plans for what I thought what was going to happen in One Piece, kind of all over the place. But that's what Oda does, man. He's such a great writer, man. He's actually incredible. We'll actually finally get the Wano volumes in the cabinet soon, because they're releasing their new set of volumes in a collection in November. So yippee! I'll make a video opening that shit up. But yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know what you thought about this chapter, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.